Hello, my dear friend, and welcome to the Spiritually Engineered Podcast, where we take a deep dive into the human experience from a spiritual perspective. Come on in, and I invite you to stay. So for today's episode, I want to get into my takeaways from this home study that I do once a month. And it's something that I'm beginning to do as far as like my episode segments. Where it's like I have like the spiritual theme of the month that I go over with you guys. And so I want to be able to expand on that. Because it's also something I'm working through myself. So it's like really using at least today's episode and kind of sticking to like perhaps the second Monday of each month where I talk about the home study that I get through my membership with the college. The resources you'll find in the descriptions to the show notes here. They're resources that I myself use. So I'm not just about talking the talk, but walking the walk. So I just wanted to kind of bring up some stuff that has come up and related to the home studies, just my own personal takeaways. And I think it's important to preface this, at least at this point in the episode, of we're in the current month of March 2026, and the spiritual theme that that we're all moving through. The key word for it is play, and that's going to be a very important thing as we get into the episode. And I want you to just think about how that relates to you for yourself in order to better navigate this month. So one of the things that when it comes to my mission, my plan, you could say life purpose, going through the whole process and working through a lot of things, there's as far as like my part, because I do believe that we have a 50-50 relationship with spirit, our spirit guides, as we're moving through our life curriculum. And my part is organizing myself. It's amazing when I do that part for myself, how things can feel more like there's more ease. Now, when I say organization, what I'm talking about is really doing some clarifying within myself. So like, let's start with like life purpose, for example. I was at a certain point where when I was asked, or when I think about what's my purpose here on this planet, that is a very loaded question, my friend. That is a very loaded question. And I can understand, because I've been there, if someone's fronted with that question and they're kind of like stumbling or just not sure, they just their mind goes blank, like nothing. Oh, I don't know. No clue. And for me, when it comes to life purpose, it's important to understand that if you're listening to this, you are fulfilling on it already. It's part of why, even why I named this podcast Spiritual Engineered, is part of our spiritual makeup, our design. And when we're in our own natural flow, in our own flow state, we're doing it. You're doing it. You're crushing it. And so for me, it's like, this is part of the journey of organizing here, of just reconnecting with that. Like, I remember I was thinking about something for myself, of like tuning into what I've come to work with. And maybe this might resonate with you. I remember I was in the shower just like thinking about it, mulling over it, and just, because like I said, I can get there, that place where I'm like, I don't know, the life purpose, can feel like an idiot. But just looking at my past experiences and my values and what I care about, part of what I know, what I've come to do this lifetime, is to inspire others. That includes you. Inspire others to rise to their greatness. Because that is within everybody, warts and all. And so, organizing, so clarifying that, taking a moment of like, okay, what are some things, we can look at your past experiences and even hearing from feedback from people, even if it's like a few words or somebody just boom hits you with like a whole shebang of like of what they think about you and how you impact other people. This is why it's important to listen, because people, especially people, can give good information. Sometimes I might receive information I don't like, but ultimately it's there for me. um and so one important way to know, when it comes to purpose, is amazing. I've come to understand we're like awesome barometers, that if I just listen to myself, it just would really say everything. You know, I remember it was shared to me, and I'm always reminded of this. It's like, if you want to know if you're on track, then doing what you've come to do, even if it's not necessarily clear to you in your head. Think about your ups and down days. Do you have more up days than down days? Or do you have more down days than up days? If you have more up days, you're pretty much right on track. Now, if you're having more down days, that's when there needs to be some adjustments. There's the opportunity, there's the need to take a step back and evaluate, okay, what's going on in my life? What am I doing? What am I currently involved in? You know? And I think that's something that it's important to, even when it comes to like day-to-day stuff, our daily endeavors, when it comes to our jobs. I remember I put together a video that I'm going to post soon, where I was basically, I was out on shift with my manager. We were just out there on the trails, and I was picking up trash, and there was like trash kind of spread around one of the public trash cans, or the public litters, just right there. And we were just talking back and forth, and I brought up in the conversation, man, it sucks that there are people that just do the bare minimum with their work. And I had this intuitive hit, this realization, like, well, and also it's part of it from experience too. It's when it comes to people doing the bare minimum, that says a lot there. With the way I see it, people who do a bare minimum aren't getting any sense of fulfillment. They haven't identified what's in it for them in their job opportunity. What's in it for you in your work opportunity you're involved now. Are you doing it solely just for the money, for survival? Now, while that is important, it shouldn't have to compromise fulfillment. Because I can be doing everything to survive, but then I could be going from day to day like a headless chicken, or I'm on edge, or just feeling this sense of dis-ease within myself, feeling miserable, but I'm still surviving. Like, there needs to be a balance there. And so, and I was making that I was just saying, like, if more people took that time to take a step back and evaluate, okay, is this something that that I need to be doing right now? I need to be involved in. Is it helping me? Is it building me? Because our work, the work opportunity has to build you to some degree. There has to be something you can identify that you're getting out of it. Otherwise, it just becomes, it's just a paycheck. And that, to me, that's just choosing suffering. That's just like settling for misery. I hope you can understand that. So whatever you've got going on with your current job, you don't have to settle for that. If it compromises your health, I mean, it's all okay, survive. I'm going to stick to this job because it's comfortable and it just pays the bills. I don't like it much. It's whatever. All that's dandy until all of a sudden your health becomes, how do I say, like, your health is affected. And then what? And I don't know about you, I'm at a place in my life where I definitely can see how health is wealth. Man, oh man. And day by day, I do my best to appreciate the good things I've got going on, because from what I've been through and then what I've witnessed other people going through, man, some real heavy stuff there. But that's all because of that's rooted back from not taking care of the part of the organization piece that I was talking about earlier, kind of getting into the when I started this segment here, particularly. And so that's why it's an important thing to really organize myself and kind of clarify. Am I involved in something where I'm excelling in my gifts, my superpowers, my talents that I bring to the table? Are you even aware of what your superpowers are? Your skills. You have some skills. You have talent. Now, whether it's not how you feel about it, that's up to you. But I'm always speaking from experience. Everybody has talents. Everybody has something good going for them. But how often, I know for me, I ignore that and I focus on these things that really don't contribute. They're not helping. They're not conducive to anything. It's not practical. What the hell is the point? I don't know about you, but I want to live my life purposefully, enjoy, have fun, go on adventures, and doing all those things, all of which all of us can do. It's not some hard thing that I have to do these hurdles and all this stuff to be able to even achieve that. So going back to the whole talent thing, like, you have something going on, like you got some good skills going on. And if you haven't taken the time to do that, might I suggest you do? Because that can also be an important tool for you on how to be able to tap into that on your day-to-day stuff. How can you use the good you got going on to tackle any challenges you got going on. And sure, the challenges might be a bit debilitating at times, but it's also important to see, like, at least to take that step back, right? Take that step back. Okay, how is this challenge helping me? Reframing it. Rather than saying, oh, life just happens to me. No, in my opinion, my life happens for me. And it all begins with my choice. It begins with my choice. So, something else that came up from the sheet, when it comes to daily opportunities here, had to sit with what are some things that maybe I can start by just asking you, what are some of the things you enjoy doing? What some of activities you enjoy doing that you genuinely experience some fulfillment? And so for me, for example, I love riding my bike. I love riding bikes, at least my own bike. I don't go around riding other people's bikes. Riding my own bike, because for me it's a source of meditation. It's a way for me to be able to move stress through my body, to move stress that I might have picked up, especially like if it's work related or anything else in my life that's been coming up. It's been able to help me clear my mind, being able to regroup with my guidance, things are coming up for me. And it just helps me to be more involved and be more present in the now, And another thing I like to do is dancing. I have some couple spots that I can go to and just dance my ass off, because I love to move. Movement is such an important thing to me. I love to be able to express myself by how I move, and to have the opportunity to be in a shared space where I can dance with other people and enjoy each other's company and just showing up as we are. And so think about that for yourself. What are some things you enjoy doing, right? And just thinking about those. And then let's look at the things that perhaps you may not enjoy. That's like, right? As uber spiritual as I try to be, right? But I'm not always balanced, right? Not trying to be so like uptight all 24/7. It's just like navigating and just really keeping that big picture, really, in all my opportunities. Without making it too much of a serious thing. Like I said, I know I can live purposefully and also have fun at the same time. They can coexist. It's not a miserable process. Nor does it have to be debilitating or suffering, type of thing. But like, what are some things perhaps that you don't enjoy doing? I know for me, something that I know there's a part of like my job where I have to do some reporting, and there's this app that it's a government app that we use to report things that are like outside of our control to handle on the trail, like illegal dumping when somebody like dumps like furniture or something. And I found some interesting stuff on the trail before where it's like out of my scope, my resources, or it's beyond my resources to be able to handle that. And so I have to fill out this, use this app that the government makes. And this app is just like so freaking complicated. Like it feels like it's like a hurdle just to do something simple as reporting. And that's why, like, for me, I don't enjoy doing it because it doesn't feel smooth to actually do it. And that affects me because at times where I might end up not doing my job my best because this one little thing. Like I hate doing this reporting to the agency to for this thing because the application itself is just is in my opinion is crap. But for me, with that, I was really tuning into, okay, well, what's the solution for that? I have to look at it from that perspective because we're all faced with life. We all have to go through the day-to-day stuff, right? The routines. There's no escaping it. We need to play the game. And this is a huge component of the game. We can't, you can't not play it. I mean, the only solution would be to just like, I mean, it's extreme, but like to kind of like check out permanently, like, you know, like passing on. Now, of course, I would not wish that for anybody. That's just to kind of give it that perspective. It's like either I'm here to play the game or I'll just go about just suffering and just doing all this stuff and all that for me that I've learned when I get affected by that. The programming and conditioning that I got from my first 7 years really takes a toll and affects how I can show up. And this is why I believe it's important to do the inner work and identify concepts, not so good belief systems that I've picked up from either my parents or anybody I had with me growing up. Because they actually serve some kind of purpose, right? So that's something that's a big component looking at it from a big picture perspective. But when it comes to like daily endeavors, living day to day, I have to be careful. All this being said about what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy, it really gets into the likes and dislikes. And I want to say this, like, I don't have to. You don't have to enjoy everything about as far as life on planet Earth. I think it's totally normal that there's some things that we don't enjoy. you know. But I think it's important that when I identify the things that I don't enjoy doing but are a necessary part of the routines, those would be the exception where I think there's a necessity to address that. Take that step back and look at that. Because there are a lot of things that are like not fun to do, right? Doing chores, laundry, maybe grocery shoppings. Everybody has their own version of like, man, I don't enjoy this. I'm sure you can identify some things you don't enjoy, right? But when I recognize it's something that it needs to get done, it's a non-negotiable. So then that's where I start looking to, okay, well, what's the solution here? Looking back to the example I shared with like my gripes with using the government agency app to report stuff on the trails that I can't myself take care of with my resources. It's like, okay, maybe just look at it like have more patience and maybe kind of role play a little bit and look at it like, okay, let me actually take the time to still do it. Maybe and maybe think about like how I'm helping a bigger picture reporting this. Like for me, there's some things I'm still working through for that. But like for yourself, what are some things that you don't enjoy doing, but you know that are a necessary part of daily living for yourself? What are some solutions you can start moving towards and start to implement little by little? Because when it comes to solutions, I myself have to remind myself, baby steps. Breathe. Baby steps. Baby steps. There needs to be baby steps. So, at this point in the episode, why I share all of this, it I want to bring back, the spiritual theme of the month, play, you know, and from doing the important work of organizing myself of like, okay, what is it that I want out of my life? What do I feel fulfilled in this work opportunity? Am I doing what I've come to do? How fulfilled do I feel right now? What could I do more to feel, or what could I start doing to feel more fulfillment? Asking those important questions to organize myself within, that really helps our guides set us up for success. There's and there's a lot of ways. There's protection and direction. So when I set my direction on what I want, and don't be apologetic about it. Whatever you want out of life, as long as it's like is being respectful of other people's free will, and is also respectful, towards yourself, right? No harm. Then there's no reason to, as long as that's not a thing, then there's no reason why you can't have what you want, what you genuinely want. That's part of, like, I remember one of my friends was like, life itself is meaningless, but we're here to actually create meaning. And this is like, it's like we enter this life with a blank canvas, but we're the artist, we're the narrator, just kind of drawing, a beautiful collage of a vast array of experiences that we've been through, that have contributed to us. Our moments when we've kind of had rock bottom, like the good, the bad, the ugly, like everything that really makes the human journey really beautiful. Like I said, warts and all, everything. Even considering the stuff that aren't pleasant that can come up. I get that. Yes, I know. But still, that's not going to be the reason for me to justify having a poor perspective on life. Remember, what you have going on in your life is there to serve you. It just boils down to, like, but do you choose to see that or not? It really is up to you. I can't do that for you. Your loved ones can't do that for you. Only you can do that for you. And this is where we all have a responsibility to ourselves. I mean, yes, we have other responsibilities to loved ones. If you have a partner, if you have a family, yes, those are theirs too, but there has to be that balance. And using the fulfillment piece, how fulfilled do you feel, as a barometer to check in so that you're on track. And when the moment the fulfillment starts to dwindle and there's more aches and pains and other things, it's like, okay, time to adjust. Time to adjust. And all this to say, I value so much the embodiment of water. Water is such a powerful symbol for all the things spiritual, because it's been able to work through all the stuff that this school can throw at us. I know that it has thrown at me, and still rise through it. So, whatever, I've said a lot here, but I encourage you, for whatever stuff that's like standing out to you, work with that. Work with like one or two things that stand out to you. Because I know for me, when I'm listening to somebody talk, having spiritual topics and conversations, I get, I hear a lot of things and I make a lot of notes, and it's like, okay, that's cool and all, but if I really want to start doing for myself, I got to make it simple and small. And then, and going, and I have to, and I need to discern and tune into myself, like, am I having fun and enjoying it? That going back to the spiritual theme of the month of play, it's a very important thing, because when I'm on my path and doing what I've come to do, and I'm involved in things that are helping me, and of course I'm giving of myself to others, it's like, think about the inner child, where they naturally just get into the play of what they're doing. They don't get so back straight up straight and just like tense muscles, and like that's not that's not innately who we are. So a lot of things that I shared is for the purpose of being able to help you identify within yourself what are some of like the blockages that are preventing you from getting into that spirit of play, preventing you from tapping into and reestablishing that connection with your inner child to enjoy your day-to-day experiences, you know? And, and I feel like once I start moving in that way, like there's a saying that was shared with me is move by wisdom, live childlike. I really begin to start to experience more fulfillment that really comes with accomplishment, you know? And when I have, it's been so refreshing because oftentimes I know for myself, I really I accomplish stuff, but not really feeling a sense of fulfillment with it. And that's more of the like the toxic productivity thing that people can spew sometimes. Again, that's them. I don't want to take that on. And so all this to say, when it comes to like living purposely, doing all these things, is to approach it all with the light in your step. Keeping that your childlike part alive as you move forward. You know, really tuning in, being sincere with yourself of what it is you want to do. Where are you trying to go? What do you want out of your life? If you had no limitations, what would you do? And to dream big as your heart, as your true heart's desire. Dream so big. And once you can pin down a dream that really feels good, take some steps, baby steps, to start bringing it to reality, to create it, to bring it into existence. And a creator has some play and fun in their in the process of being involved in doing, you know. And I just would want that for you, my friend, to tap more into that, into the spirit of that play. So just be aware of the things that can come up, and just remember that you have the capacity to take that step back. You're not defined by, or you're not destined for darkness, or you're not defined by limitations or the things that can come up. All that stuff is just programming, but that can easily, we're here to all heal that in our own timing. And I think with commitment and dedication, you can, I have no doubts you can make it far. Farther than you if you ever could ever imagine, that you can even ever think of. I see it in you. But do you see it in yourself? Do you see it in your future? And so go forth, my friend. And I hope you guys get a lot out of this, you know. And I think I'll leave it there. So this has been another episode of Spiritual Engineered. I'm your host, Alvin Zapeta, signing out. And as always, take care, my dear friend.